Hello. Trouble is with making internet videos, keeping this vlog, is that sometimes you're in a particular mood and then later on your mood changes. So I decided it was better that I, excuse me, that the last few videos that I made, I'm going to stick them as private. And because it's best to keep your feet on the ground and really, privately have ideas about the future, knowing that anything can change. But you might have certain wishes and ways of looking at things and certain desires. You can get into a mood where you're kind of I'm excited about that. I want to blow off some steam about that. But nothing has changed, don't get me wrong. I still think what I thought, I still think what I said, but I thought let's always keep it feet on the ground, taking care of business, taking care of daily life, exploring present and past experiences, and exploring the all these wonderful spiritual notions and the relationship with the landscape and all this kind of stuff. And obviously this has turned into a kind of vlog as well about life on the road as a nomad, living wherever I'm working. And excuse me, I've got a real frog in my throat tonight. See, in this time of lockdown where I can't visit the gym, which means I can't have a workout, I can't have a shower, I have to wash out a cold bucket every morning, it's difficult to shave, you can't go out and meet anyone. I mean, I've found myself, I've had a few naughty nights here and there, and there have been a few lovely people that have, given me access to their shower room here and there, but I don't like to impose on people, and sometimes I just don't want to, and I mean, you have all these normal human needs that you're not able to express, and it's like I'm in a perfect position that where my practice is accentuated, because when I finish a day's work, all there is darkness. And I could spend all night watching YouTube videos, which I do a little bit, but I spend most of the day listening to YouTube videos and metal. So in the evening, bit of reading, do my meditation, this kind of stuff. So it's like one day turns into another, where the only variation, the only excitement, the only relief, especially because of certain issues and certain threats, which are still playing out, meditation is just a blessed relief. And I do have a certain struggle with maintaining the right sleep pattern, a correct sleeping pattern in terms of that's best for my job and just best for everything, Trouble is that I do put my practice first. You might think, that's wonderful. So in terms of my spiritual practice, it's been ongoing. You have a few days that are, not so good here and there, don't get me wrong, but in general, and there might be certain things, extra things that might, get lost for a few days, but you pick them up, you come back, and you have, trouble is, if you have a run where you're disciplined and you're doing everything just right, you work, you practice, everything's ticking along, what's missing is a weekend where you can go out as a single guy and meet someone and have a chat, have a beer. You know what I'm saying, right? So that can translate into overeating or staying up too late, a kind of restlessness. So I do have struggles with with these issues. And when you are spending too much time on your own, a certain frame of mind can become normal. Now, the beauty of meditation means that you're always stepping outside of your thoughts periodically. So you're very good at basically staying sane. But saying that, when you're now living in a world where certain things that even you, that even surprise, me, certain things, when you're privy to things that most of the world don't believe are possible, and you get used to that in your own mind, in the privacy of sitting and making a video, sometimes you can get a bit odd. But don't get me wrong, I'm proud of pretty much everything, and it's a good record. It's a nice record of a change in attitude, a change in life circumstances, and fingers crossed at some point in the future, it might mean something more than it does now, externally. But at the same time, because the future is a foreign country, then it's best to just get on with, feet on the ground, taking care of business, confronting the dragon, getting better at keeping your gob shut, and it's a strange combination to be, on one hand, it's like, am I escaping? Is escapism a constant factor in my life? I mean, the very reason I do this job is because I can work all day and listen to what I want to listen to. I don't have to put up with anyone for too long. I'm moving around, I'm working on my own. But then you kind of do miss the human company. But then when you get a heavy dose of that human company, that you're like, no, I definitely made the right decision. All of these things going around your mind, living a very peculiar existence. And trouble is, when you can't and shouldn't and won't say too much on certain subjects out of respect and caution, and yet at the same time I've been very open. It's everything is a very strange paradox, and I know that it will come. I can say this with clarity, that I definitely will make a few videos in the future that are planned out. There's one that's kind of that will be semi planned out. Me and Samuel Connor will talk about our ayahuasca experiences, because I have notes that I made from all of the sessions, so we can just simply have a look through, quick reminder, and then sit there with the notebook and then just run through all of the notes and experiences and just talk about that. I'll tell you something else as well, and I'm trying to think how to put this. I don't have much. There's not much of an issue with me, because I'm not getting a lot of exposure, obviously, with my videos right now. But let's just say, my friend Samuel Connor identified a particular plant in the landscape when he was out having a wander, And we went out for the day, and we tried to find the particular location, which we did again, and we were able to grab a few of these plants. And I've got one of my favorite parking places. I've got one of these plants that I, feed it and look after it. And I can say safely, yes, we have discovered a psychedelic plant in the landscape, but unfortunately it's not native. If it had been native, you imagine the possibilities and the theorizing, but nonetheless, even though it was imported at a certain point in history, whenever that was, it found its way here. We think anyway, you can never be 100% certain. Nonetheless, it's intriguing when you think what's out there, the old wise man, wise woman back in the day, herb lore, all that kind of stuff. So much knowledge lost, destroyed. Now, I've made it evident, it's pretty clear that I do have there is a syncretism within me, but there's also an antagonism where I'm interested in all of the traditions of the world pertaining to, magic, shamanism, mysticism, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, Hermetics is fascinating because of especially its ties with and its origin in ancient Egypt. But it's more of a Greco-Egyptian / channeled through the Renaissance type thing we got going on, these days, but there's still enough. And thanks to one particular miracle of a book, and people are working these days to clarify and I wouldn't say reintroduce, because obviously, groups like the Golden Dawn and, there's people all over the world doing this kind of stuff. And so it's been there a long time, but there's something new going on with this whole, what's this phrase? The new magical revival, or whatever people talk about on the internet. I can tell you that there's people that are talking less and working away privately to to explore and solidify these concepts. Thanks to all of the tradition, and then one particular book, and there is something wonderful that is unfurling its petals gradually. So there's all that, and then there's I'm just totally a European guy, and I'm aware that my heritage has been almost entirely destroyed. So, it's a bit like, even though it's cool and you wouldn't criticize anyone, when you see say for instance, a white guy wearing saffron robes, sitting there in the meditation position, you're cool, you're on board. It's like, hey, good for you, great. But there's it's like when you're surrounded by Oriental decor, your mind is kitted out in a very Eastern way, yet you're a Western guy, you're a European guy. each to their own, but I can't let that fully slide with me. I mean, I can draw from all kinds of, pagan sources, but I'm aware, especially through the relationship that I've been having, the downloads, the experiences, and what I feel within me and how I feel when I'm, out in the countryside. And I'm like, so here we are, we've got like a Middle Eastern, desert religion that's been imported so long ago that it appears and has become, native, if you like. And yet there was something before. And there is that period of confusion in the Dark Ages and amalgamation. And there's very little that stays, there's very little that's pure. I mean, you have to always bear in mind that cultures move and shift and different influences come in and out. But there is something quintessentially European pagan that has been almost entirely annihilated. So those few brief moments and those experiences when you come into contact with that, that's where I know that's where my heart is. So I'm happy having a syncretism as long as my heart is in resonance with my ancestors. I believe I went off subject somewhere, and I'm in need of a drink. I'm in need of a lot of things right now, but I can make myself a drink, so I shall. And be lovely, be cool. Try to keep the fires of optimism burning within you as the world goes mad. And don't be afraid of the dark.